Hi everybody, this video is for the snatch. More specifically for our purposes at home, we will be doing a dumbbell snatch. Even more specific, a single arm dumbbell snatch. Now, we do 2 arms on the bar for the clean. We're doing it with the deadlift. Why single arm with the snatch? One, it's a lot easier to control one thing over your head and move out of the way if something happens than let's say two dumbbells or something like that. We also can use the other hand for balance, especially when we do a squat in the snatch, okay? So we wanna do 2 versions of the dumbbell snatch. One is the full snatch, ground to overhead into a squat. The other is the power snatch, and that's ground to overhead in a small dip, okay? Now your other hand can come out for balance, whatever direction that you feel needs to be. I already have the dumbbell here on the ground, and again, we could have the dumbbell either facing forward or turned sideways, is whatever your preference is. But one thing about the catch, when we get that dumbbell overhead, it is best to have our thumb pointing back this way. This is a very strong position for that shoulder to be in, okay? An okay position is your thumb pointing inward. If we had the bar, that's very similar to what we have here, only we're trying with our shoulders themselves to be back and set. So this is an okay position. What we do not want is that thumb facing forward when we get the dumbbell overhead, okay? That makes the shoulder rotate forward or internally and makes us want to dump the weight, okay? So as you're doing the lift, probably best if you practice during the lift and finishing with that thumb pointing backwards, okay? Again, it's a very strong position for your shoulder to be in, so that's what I'll try to do for you here on the video. The dumbbell is on the floor, and we're gonna treat this just like the clean. Brace our core, have the hips come back. As we come down, reach for the dumbbell. We're gonna pull up, fire through the hip, and get that dumbbell overhead. That was an example of a power snatch. You notice that I didn't squat the entire time. Now, if you're working on snatches and need a little help figuring out the balance of things, it's a good idea to practice that overhead squat with a dumbbell, okay? Even on days where you do snatches, to warm up that snatch, practice with that squat overhead with the dumbbell all the way down and up, okay? Because when you're pulling from the floor for a squat snatch or a full snatch with a dumbbell, you're gonna be in that squat position very quickly. So we wanna be able to be very comfortable in that squat position with weight overhead and our core strong and braced, okay? So I'll show you one with the left hand. I've been doing the right hand this whole time. We're gonna do a full snatch, lift it up, and in a full squat with that dumbbell overhead. Now the power snatch, again, is a dip, or if not needed, you don't need to dip at all. Get that dumbbell straight up overhead. There's no pause at the shoulder and no pressing. It's from the ground, overhead in one movement with a big hip thrust to accommodate that, okay? One big tip, if your kettlebell, not kettlebell, or dumbbell swings away from you, it's gonna be less efficient of a movement than if you could pull that dumbbell straight up toward the ceiling, okay? Swinging it away from you takes a lot longer as well, okay? So we're gonna try to keep that weight really close to your body, reaching straight down, core is engaged, hamstrings engaged, butt engaged, my hips are back, pulling straight up to that power snatch, okay? Again, a snatch is a very complicated movement, so it might take time to learn and practice. Don't worry about having to stay a little bit lighter on the dumbbell. Okay, that's just fine until we have the move mastered and efficient.